Greetings and salutations, and this is Tech Plays here, back with more Tomb Raider. I almost said Rise of the Tomb Raider for some reason, but Tomb Raider, and we just got the rifle. Yeah, we get this gun pretty early. We kind of get all the guns pretty early, honestly. I don't even think we're at the halfway point by the time we get the shotgun, which is the last gun we really get. Well, technically, it's the last gun we get. We do get fire arrows later in the game. We also get a grenade launcher attachment for the rifle. So we do get other options. They're just part of the same weapons, right? So, like, this is kind of in a bit of contrast to Rise, because I think you get the shotgun at the halfway point of Rise, whereas you have all the weapons pretty early in this game. We're not even halfway through yet, and we got 3 out of 4 weapons. We're not even going to be halfway through when we get the shotgun. So, yeah, this game, like I did mention it, that this game gives you weapons a lot faster, but when you realize this game is like an hour or so shorter than Rise, it kind of makes a little bit of sense, especially since the game has to introduce the attachments for these weapons. You don't really have as many attachments in Rise, if I recall correctly. In Rise, sorry, my throat's a little scratchy. In Rise, you get other alternatives, if I remember correctly. You get like fire throwables and explosive throwables and shit like that. But yeah, that's just the way that is. But basically, yeah. So you don't get as many like weapon attachments, and the weapon skills. Actually, there's more weapon skills you can get in Rise, if I remember correctly, and I think they're more diverse in a way. They're not, like, some of the weapon skills in this game are basically just add a little damage, more accuracy, all that shit. I think you get more interesting weapon perks you can unlock in Rise, but it kind of makes sense, though, right? Because this is the first game. This is really, it's going to be base level because it needs to introduce you to shit. In Rise, a lot of the upgrades you get for these weapons are kind of come with them a little bit. Like, the weapons in Rise feel a little more powerful than these. But also in Rise, the enemies are a little harder to deal with, so it's probably for balancing reasons, let's be real. But it also kind of makes sense from a narrative standpoint in Rise, because in this game, you're basically fighting off a cult group that wants to do a thing. I'm not going to say the thing yet because it's spoilers, but you're basically fighting off a cult group that wants to do a thing. These guys are trained in survival and combat, but in the second game, you're literally fighting a militaristic force, if I remember correctly. I don't remember what their group is considered, but they have like military level tactics and like skills and shit like that. So your weapons are kind of buffed a little bit in Rise to kind of fit with that. They feel a little stronger in Rise is what I'm getting at. And you're fighting against smarter enemies. So a lot of Rise's combat encounters are more complex than this game. From a gameplay design standpoint and from a lore standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. This is the first game, so you need the weapons to be more base level so the player gets used to them. The second game introduces more you can do with those weapons and has those weapons stronger off the bat because you're used to them. But also, that's the gameplay standpoint. From the lore standpoint, it's that in this game you're fighting kind of a cult-like thing, right? You're kind of fighting a cult. In the second game, you're fighting a you're fighting a militia force. I don't think they're actually military, but they're something. I don't know what they are, but they are something on that level in terms of like what they can do, what they have, all that shit. Like, they got a lot more going on than this group. This group is very much, we're just surviving here. We have weapons. We're gonna fight you off. That group
Alex,
is very much,
are you there?
we're gonna pull out like special like attack groups and shit. Like, there's points in Rise where they literally pull out like a SWAT team, like not a SWAT team, but a team kind of like that on Lara.
You're gonna have to patch in
in the second half of some combat encounters, and it's like that happens once in this game, but it doesn't have the same. It doesn't have that SWAT team vibe like it does in Rise. It's kind of like a more.
High up.
They're just stronger enemies, really, is all it is. In Rise, it kind of feels like you're being attacked by a SWAT team because they have like smoke grenades and shit. You'll see what I mean. You'll see what I mean if we if I end up let's playing Rise, which I most likely will. Not this season of Tech Plays. It'll be like way in the future, but I most likely will end up like let's playing Rise of the Tomb Raider because it's my favorite in the trilogy, and since we got this one out of the way anyway, might as well. But yeah, I also need to play Crash 1 at some point, because it's the last Crash game I need to do. But I am prioritizing Tomb Raider, Bioshock, and the Arkham games over Crash 1, because I want to get started on those series. Obviously, we've already gotten started on Tomb Raider. I'm either going to play Bioshock or Batman Arkham Asylum to cap off this season after RE9. Most likely, because I don't think RE9 is going to end up being a super long game. RE9 games are never really too long, except for RE4 Remake. Unless it's like RE4 Remake length, I think we're good. But if it is RE4 Remake length or longer, we'll probably end up doing one game after. Like, we'll probably end up capping it off there. Sorry, I was getting my words mixed up. But yeah. Anyway. Sorry, I'm getting messages while I'm, like, doing this commentary, so, yeah. Luckily, this video is probably one of the shorter ones we've done so far. So, I don't have to do much more commentary here. And the reason I say luckily and I don't have to do much more commentary is because I kind of want to have these videos done because I got other shit to do today. It's not like a lack of enthusiasm or anything like that. It's that I got other stuff to do. I have like a bunch of stuff to work on right now, lately, and it's not really stressful. I'm kind of enjoying having a lot to do because I usually get bored easily. So it kind of feels good having a lot to do for once. In a way, but it's also causing me to be too busy for certain things. That's why that was the other reason I didn't do 4 videos yesterday, because I had other shit to do yesterday. I was like, fuck, we can't really do 4 like I wanted to do, because 1, I didn't have the drive to do 4 videos in a day, but 2, I just didn't have the time either. Like, so we did the other 2 today. Because I do usually have an hour or 2 to spare each day, even with, like, me being more busy lately. I do usually have an hour or 2 to spare for, like, every day, for extra shit. At the very least. Sometimes a little more. Like, and usually a little, like, a good bit more. Usually I have a few hours a day to spare. Oh, fuck. Oh, I forgot that guy's stealth attack shoot. Yeah, we're gonna have to take him down. That guy literally caught me up. In my defense, that guy literally caught me off guard. Also, if you ever see me go back to camps after dying, it's just to make sure it's saved, like, my progress. Like, if I spent skill points or if I spent salvage, it's basically to make sure it saved me doing that. Because I'm not, like, especially in the early game, I wasn't sure if it'll always do that. So just wanted to there's gonna be times where I make sure of that.
How many are there?
So if you ever see me go back to, like, a camp after dying, that's why. Bro, you need to chill. You need to chill. You need to fuck off. Fuck off. We got more enemies here, don't we? Yeah. Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy. Comes down like that. Fuck you. Fuck the guy. Shooting flame arrows. Why did they get flame arrows before me? I'm jealous of that. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It is kind of cool, though, that you get to see some, like, shit before you get them. Some of these guys have rifles before you get a rifle. Some of them have flame arrows before you get a flame arrow. I don't think any of them ever uses grenade launchers. Or, I don't think any of them ever use grenade launchers or shotguns, if I remember correctly. They might, and I just didn't notice, but I don't think any of them ever use those. But some of them do have weapons you'll never get. Like some of these guys have throwable explosives, which we won't get until Rise. And that's one thing. Like, instead we get the grenade launcher instead of throwable explosives. So I guess they do kind of have that before us. But the throwable explosives have better aim. Especially when we get in the next game. So, yeah. Why did I pause? Oh, it's just, okay, I don't have to edit that. Good. I did not want to have to edit. Fuck. Man, can you guys chill? Yeah, I definitely struggle a lot more with the combat in the early game. You'll have to bear with me here. I do get, like, I won't say I get, like, amazing later in the game. I'm still not fantastic at this game, but I definitely get really good at combat later. Especially with all, like, the weapons you unlock and the weapon attachments and all that, like, it definitely helps, but I do think a good chunk of it is my skill, because I'm just better at dodging attacks, I'm better at, like, avoiding enemies, because there are, like, a couple points in the late game where instead of, like, attacking enemies, I might have already done it already in the early game too, but there's occasionally a moment where there's just a couple enemies, and instead of fighting them, I'll just run off. I'll just be like, fuck you guys, I'm out of here. The exit's right there. I don't have to kill you to open it. Bye. Because, yeah, there are some combat encounters you have to complete to, like, progress forward. But there are other ones where, basically, you can just, skip the whole damn encounter. Really. It's, yeah, it's not something I like to do because the combat is fun. Especially in Rise, but in Rise you can't really skip combat encounters if I remember correctly. At least I don't know if you can. There might have been a couple in Rise you can skip, and I just don't remember. But I never felt the need to skip any combat encounters in Rise. Because as fun as the combat is in this game, part of why I do skip a couple encounters when there's just a couple enemies and I know I can just run past them, part of the reason I do that is just because the enemies in this game are not as smart as the ones in Rise. It's easier to just run off away from them every once in a while. And I don't do it a lot. I think it's only happened 2 or 3 times in the whole Let's Play. I think only twice. But it only really, it just happens because I just don't feel like it. It's just, yeah, these guys are fun to fight, but really when there's just an encounter with a couple enemies, they're gonna be dealt with in like 5 seconds anyway. Might as well just run. It's like, what's the point at that point? It's not much of a fight.
Out of the way.
Because the enemies in this game are that easy. It's like if there's just 2 of them, especially in the late game, you can take them out in like 5 seconds. In Rise, it takes a little more effort than that. Unless you're able to, unless it's like a stealth scenario, you can pretty much take out enemies still kind of easily in stealth scenarios in Rise. Both games are kind of equally hard when it comes to stealth sections. They're both like, enemies aren't really too much smarter in Rise when it comes to your stealth. They're still about the same as these guys. Their pathfinding is a little smarter, and they'll find you faster if you made noise, but it's more so they won't spot you any easier than these guys will. Fuck! I fucking hate the shit with enemies. They're a little more bearable in Rise because of throwables and shit, especially because the throwables are introduced so early in the game. But here it's like, you can't really deal with these guys until you have a shotgun, a grenade launcher, or throwables. Throwables aren't in this game. You get a grenade launcher instead, and you get the shotgun way before the grenade launcher. So, basically, we'll get a shotgun soon. But until we do, these guys are a bitch. And the reason why the shotgun is useful is because it makes them, when you shoot their shield, they'll usually, like, stagger backwards and lift the shield, and then you shoot them again. That's why the shotgun is useful. It's not as good as, like, the grenade launcher in this game or the explosive throwables in the next game are on them, but it is still useful. Because until we get the grenade launcher, you're expected to dodge and then, like, counterattack, I'm pretty sure. There are occasional moments where they'll slip up and, like, aim their shield in a way where you can shoot like I did. Because, yeah, when they, like, tilt their shield like that, you can, like, shoot their leg and then... Yeah, that's basically how I take this guy down. It's just waiting until he tilts his shield. You don't even really have to wait till he attacks. Just wait till he, like, tilts his shield. Which he usually does right before an attack. It's really all you gotta do. But yeah, we're halfway through this video. We can do this, guys. Let's get to the end. Okay, open this up. Oh, yep, there we go. Okay. So this is like a little bit of this occasionally happens, but there are a few moments in this game and in Rise, and this isn't really a complaint. It's kind of interesting that it's like this, actually. But there's occasionally a moment where, like, I'll think one way is the main path, I'll go there, and it turns out it's a side path with loot, and I'll be like, cool, loot, let's take it, and then I'll go the other way. But I also am relieved that those moments happen, because I prefer to loot the little side paths before going forward. So, like, there'll be moments in the game where you'll notice me going down the main path, and I'm like, oh, wait, this is the main path. Let's turn around and go get loot, right? And you'll notice it, like, in my movement in the gameplay. You'll basically notice me turn around going to do that. Let's burn this shit. We gotta complete the challenge. Why isn't it? Oh. Oh, I forgot. We already completed that challenge. So these don't count. There's a few challenges in this game. They're a little tricky to find for the most part. Some of them are obvious, like that. Those logo posters were really obvious. Like, that's how I, like, immediately knew that was something, because it told me to burn it. I was like, what? Plus, the first one of those you find is literally right in front of you. So it's, yeah. But then there's some challenges, like I found one in the mountain village a little back when doing some post-game content, like doing some, not really post-game content, but doing like some tombs and stuff. I found like a challenge where you light little things. Can't like language right now, but yeah, it's like I found little statues where you light a fire in the mountain village. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Anyway.
Here goes.
I really love this part. This part is fucking beautiful. This part is beautiful. I love the scenery of this. It's not the only time where I just have to take a step back and enjoy the scenery while I'm playing and while I'm watching back. We get another shot of this later on when we're in like a big kind of industrial area that's also really beautiful. I forget what the area is called, but this spot right here is fucking gorgeous. I love this. I love snowy scenery in video games. I always do, especially when they nail it. I think Rise of the Tomb Raider gets the snowy scenery a little better, since most of that game is literally in snow, and there's more snowy scenery to be seen from different angles, different types of things and shit. But this is still beautiful. I love this. And this is where we're gonna get our thumbnail. Once we get to the top, I gotta like back out and screenshot it, but we're gonna get a thumbnail up here. Let's go. When I say back out and screenshot it, I mean I gotta stop commentating for a second to take a screenshot. because I forgot to do it before doing commentary, so yeah. Because I need a screenshot of the scenery we're about to get up here. Damn. My acrophobic ass could never. Me playing games like this, and I'm acrophobic as fuck. I'm not acrophobic when playing the game, right? Like, it doesn't scare me seeing, like, this height. Anyway, stop for thumbnail. And we're back. But yeah, like, man, the scenery, I fucking love it. Like, look, I'm someone who's always going to make the argument that, like, gameplay should come first before everything in the game.
Okay.
But this game and Rise both have amazing gameplay. So there's really no reason for me to go, the scenery's good, but yeah. Because like, when a game is beautiful looking, the game in the gameplay sucks. I'm not gonna care that like it's gorgeous. I care if it's gorgeous if the game is already good. If that makes sense. Like, I look at a game like, I look at like the Last of Us games, right? And I think the story is really good. I think the like graphics, the scenery, all that stuff is beautiful. But the one part I can't get on board with is the gameplay. I don't like the gameplay of the Last of Us games. To be fair, I don't like the gameplay of most Naughty Dog games. I like Jak 2 and Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy. I like the original Crash trilogy and the Insane trilogy remake of it. I like those, but after that, I kind of don't really care for anything Naughty Dog has made for the most part. Uncharted 1 and 2 were a little fun at times, but they still weren't games I really enjoyed, right? I kind of think, because somebody pointed this out to me, I was talking to them about replaying this game, and I was like, I'm replaying Tomb Raider, and they're like, it kind of reminds them of Uncharted, and I was like, I kind of see that, it kind of reminds me of Uncharted 2, a little bit, and not in, it kind of feels like a better executed Uncharted, in my opinion.
I can do that.
And I know some people might come at me for that. I'm sorry. But this game is kind of like Uncharted, but if it was for me. And what I mean by that is that it does things I like better than things Uncharted does.
That's one way to get down.
I like that Laura is way more crafty in these games, in this and Rise of the Tomb Raider. I like that, like, she feels like a survivor. Nathan Drake just gives off an adventurer vibe. Laura gives off a survivor vibe, and that's way more in line with shit I like in a game, right? I like feeling like a survivor. That's part of why I like survival horror games a little bit, and why I like games like Minecraft and 7 Days to Die and shit like that. It's because I like feeling like a survivor in games, right? And that kind of goes more into the reason why I don't like Walking Sim horror games, as I've explained in the past, but I kind of like recently came to the conclusion that another reason I don't like Walking Sim horror games is you don't feel like a survivor, you feel like a victim. And I don't like playing that. I like playing with a survivor feeling, like I'm surviving this, I'm fighting against what is around me. I like that feeling, and I feel like that adds to the experience in a horror game. If you're kind of just defenseless running away, it's scarier at first, but it kind of like loses its appeal for me after a while. Whereas with survival horror games, and this game at some points too, this game has like a few spooky moments actually, which I was not expecting, because Rise isn't really a spooky game. Rise definitely leans more into like the action and like, I don't really want to call it platforming, but I guess it kind of is platforming, because that is kind of like it's kind of advanced platforming a little bit. When you think about it, the DNA of a game like this is kind of like shooters and platformers mixed with modern action. Kind of what it is. And I feel like that's where, like, and it kind of makes sense when you think about it, because this formula, the reason, like, that I, like, agree with that person is because this formula did start in Uncharted. This formula originates from Uncharted. It's just done with a different vibe here, and due to that different vibe, there's different things to it, right? You feel much more like a crafty survivor when you're doing things to survive, right? And you like pick up on weapon attachments, gadgets, shit like that. Later in the game, we get like the rope arrow for the first time. I actually think we get it sometime soon, actually. I think we get it either before or after the shotgun, I don't remember. But we get a rope arrow sometime soon, which adds a lot of gameplay options. The rope arrow does return in Rise. I don't remember if it's there from the start or if we pick up on it. I think it might be there from the start, but who knows. But the rope arrow does return in Rise. I do remember that. Oh, jeez. This is also the first video where, like, everything was blind to me when I was playing, because I had not played none of this before. So that might have been also why you saw me struggling a little bit more with combat earlier, because this was really the first, that really was the first couple blind combat encounters I had in this game. In this run, because I never finished the game, as I previously mentioned. As I the first time I stopped playing was like all the way back at the end of the last video, at that part of the game. When I see all the things these games do, I'm like, geez, they're trying to fucking kill Laura. That kind of adds like the badassery to it. I'm gonna be honest here. I think Lara Croft in this game in Rise of the Tomb Raider is more badass than Nathan Drake. I know there's gonna be people that's like, that's a hot take. Yeah, it probably is, but part of that is because do you see the shit Lara has to survive? I know that Nathan Drake gets put through a lot because I've played through the first 2 games and a little bit of 3. I know that Nathan Drake gets put through a lot, but good grief. The amount of shit Lara gets put through. There is a moment later in the game. I'm not going to spoil it because it's a moment that had me going, ugh, I could never do that. And you'll know what it is when we get to it. But that moment was really when I was like, damn, Lara is more badass than Nathan Drake. And it is not even like a comparison. Lara might honestly be the most, like, at least like... Lara in this game in Rise of the Tomb Raider might be the most badass video game protagonist I've ever played as. Because of the amount of shit she can take, the amount she's willing to go through to survive and all that stuff. It's just so good. It's like, that's another reason I love playing these 2 games. Is you don't just feel like a survivor, you also feel like a badass, and I fucking love that. Oh, we're at a camp. Oh yeah, we're about to end off the video. Yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and end it off. We're ending off the video here, so bye.